let's talk about some fun, flirty, and fruity fragrances. I can get down with fruity fragrances, especially in the summer, but I feel like this summer I've really been enjoying the fruity fragrances a little bit more than I was kind of expecting to. So I have a mix of niche here. I also have some stuff from Sephora, and I feel like it's a good mix of just in general fruity fragrances and also some nice tropical fragrances for summer. So let's get into it. Let's get real. This video was inspired by Narcotica's Narco Oasis. I recently bought this and my goodness, this is beautiful. This is super fruity. It has passion fruit in here. There's also some peach. I feel like I kind of get the mix of those two, but really this takes on a tropical kind of vibe with that passion fruit. It is so juicy, but then there's something kind of creamy coming through this fragrance. There's vanilla in here, and it's a pretty strong dose of vanilla. When I was smelling this in store, it was described to me as kind of like a passion fruit ice cream, and I definitely get that. And maybe the reason this works so well for me, especially now, as you guys know, I love vanillas, okay? Like, it's not a secret at all, but because the fruits are mixed with the vanilla so nicely, again, as much as this is juicy, it does kind of just tone it down a little bit and kind of ground it in a way for me. And so it's just like this perfect mix. It's definitely very sweet. It's almost a little sugared, but again, a little bit more creamy as well. And to me, I definitely get some like Trident orange gum vibes from this, which I like. I don't know. I know that sounds maybe like not good, but even if you don't like that, you're gonna like this. Like, I just love this. It's so freaking good, so summery and a little bit sexy, and I feel like a little refined for a fruity scent. So it's definitely one to check out if you've been hearing about it, but I will say this thing is expensive. This is a very expensive perfume, and I'm super happy to have it, but I do wish it lasted longer. It does not last on me. I don't know what it is. My skin eats this up, so I definitely have to reapply it. I don't mind it. It's always a joy, but you know, just something to know. I definitely wish I got a little bit more longevity on this, especially for that price, but I have been loving the Narcotica scents. I really have. The two I have are amazing. Okay, this next fragrance to me, it just smells like a Tennessee bachelorette party. Like, it just does. I don't make the rules, okay? It just smells fruity, fun, a little wild. You're letting loose a little bit. You're matching all your girlfriends, walking around the city in sashes, drinking, okay? That's what this smells like to me. This is Sunset Hour from Goldfield and Banks. This has a very prominent raspberry note. I feel like that is the main fruitiness I get from this. There's also this note of like desert peach in there as well, but to me, raspberry really comes through. It almost smells a bit like a muddled fresh strawberry, but also kind of a frozen sweet strawberry as well. It's super sweet though. It almost takes on like a raspberry cotton candy kind of scent, and there's some woody notes in the base. Just flirty, okay? This thing is a good time, and it's not too serious of a perfume, especially for a niche fragrance. I feel like if you've tried a lot of niche and maybe have been scared away by some of the more intense or challenging fragrances out there, this to me is very approachable, and it almost is kind of an elevated Bath and Body Works kind of scent. So if you like this kind of fruity, flirty fragrances, this one might be one to check out. It has a little bit of a perfumey quality to it as well, but I have a dent in here. I wore this a couple summers ago, like all the time. I loved it, and it is definitely a mood booster of a fragrance for sure. I think I described it before. I was just like, you're having fun again, probably drinking a little. There's something about this that just makes you want to have a cocktail. Of course, something flirty and fruity, and you're just the life of the party. You're talking to people, you know, your favorite song comes on, you're gonna get up and dance. I just feel like that's the vibe of this fragrance, okay? It's just such a likable and fun fragrance. Definitely one that fits this video perfect. A newer one that I just continue to enjoy is from Ellis Brooklyn. This is Miami Nectar. I was sent this from the brand. Okay, I have to say the sprayer on this is a little much. It's just like a straight shot. I'm not impressed with that, but this is gonna be more of your tropical fruity scent for summer, and I just feel like this really does capture a summery moment. There is coconut water in here, there's pineapple in here, but I feel like it's not too tart or too tangy. There's a sugary quality to this as well, especially in that dry down. I get a warm, sugary, almost kind of ambery scent in the dry down for some reason for me. There are some florals in here. There's frangipani, there's some jasmine, there's also lily of the valley, but I don't feel like this takes on too much of a sunscreen scent. I feel like this still stays fruit forward instead of getting a little bit more creamy and getting a little bit more floral and only beachy. So I think it works for not just a vacation. You know what I mean? Like, you could wear this just all summer no matter kind of what you're doing. And again, that dry down is my favorite part. It is a little bit vanilla and just kind of sweet. And I almost feel like because the fruity nature of this isn't so in your face. Like it is, don't get me wrong, but I just mean as it dries down, as you wear it, it doesn't feel like you're perpetually on vacation as you're like doing your normal chores and tasks throughout the day. And I think that's why it works for me. So definitely one to check out. I like this more than Sunfruit from Ellis Brooklyn, which is also kind of a coconut. I don't think there's pineapple in there, but there's pear, there's some fig, and that one also has a very bright, summery nature about it. But out of the two, I definitely prefer Miami Nectar, and it's a good new fruity release for summer if you're wanting to check it out. I will say longevity on this one also isn't like beast mode, but again, I don't necessarily mind for this one specifically. If you're looking for an alternative to Sunfruit from Ellis Brooklyn, I feel like Tropica from Njie is just better. This has the coconut, it has the pineapple in here. I think there might even be fig as well. Yeah, it has all three of those notes plus some citruses in here. But what I really love is that this dries down to a nice, almost kind of salty, creamy yet dry sandalwood base. So it has this very woody nature about it, which I freaking love. I feel like that pineapple definitely shines through the most in here in terms of the fruitiness of this fragrance, and the coconut to me is more of like a dry, almost like the husk of the coconut. I feel like, again, that dry, woody sandalwood thing mixes really well with the coconut, and I feel like it is unique. And again, just the more refined version to me anyway of something like Sunfruit from Ellis Brooklyn. I love that this isn't overly tangy, but again, you are getting a sticky, sweet pineapple in here. Almost something, I don't want to say that it's overly ripe, but I do feel like it's ready to be eaten. You know what I mean? That pineapple is ready to be eaten. But again, it's grounded by something very woody, and I feel like as it wears, that woodiness, the sandalwood, even some of the ambergris is what you're going to be left with the most. So if you like woody scents like I do, this might be a good mix of fruity and woody to check out. Okay, if you just want straight up fruity, okay, you're like, no, I want the biggest dose of fruit you can get, and you're into a watermelon scent. Batikh watermelon is just straight up watermelon candy. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. It's like you got a snow cone and it's watermelon flavored and it's just the end syrup. Like that's all that's left. You ate all the ice and it all sunk down, and the first bits that you were eating weren't even that flavorful, but that's actually your favorite part, or at least it is if you're me. And the bottom is just like deep red, artificial kind of watermelon smelling. That's what this smells like. And you know, it's a vibe. It is a fruity, flirty, fun vibe for sure. Not everyone's vibe, but if it's yours, you might want to check this one out. It also is kind of like watermelon gum. Like I'm telling you, it is juicy, it is intense, and that flash of watermelon is just so strong. I just don't know if I can prepare you, okay? It's very sweet, super fun, a very interesting fragrance in my collection for sure. And honestly, one of the better watermelon scents that I've smelled. A lot of watermelon can go a little stinky to me, but this one, maybe because it does take on a more artificial watermelon smell, doesn't have that particular stink to me that watermelon can have. Instead, it's just a lot. Some of the notes in here, there's pear, there's tangerine, there's watermelon, obviously, strawberry, apple, rose, and then praline and musk in the base. I feel like there's not much in the base, and so I don't get a ton of longevity on this one, but again, for something this intense, I don't necessarily mind it, okay? It's a fun one to spray on in the moment and enjoy in the moment, and I'm kind of glad that like in a couple of hours, I'm ready for maybe something different, a new story. But I had to check this one out when I was hearing people talk about it, and I have to say, you know, it definitely fulfills a fruity itch if that's what you're wanting and if you love watermelon. Yeah, that thing is intense, my goodness. Another one that's really fun and kind of in a similar vein, but I feel like is maybe more my style, is Vanille Banane. This is from Comptoir Pacifique, and this is like a milky vanilla banana, almost like a pudding, I guess. I find with Comptoir Pacifique, their scents are very, very sweet. Like I'm talking artificial sweetener sweet. All their vanillas are like that for me. They just take on a very sugared, but again, not a crystallized sugared. It's like a manufactured powdered sugar, and I'm talking sweet and low. You know what I mean? Like that's just this underlying vibe about all of their fragrances to me, but it works with this banana scent. I will say this is a very fleeting banana. So, you know, I smell it in that opening, but it doesn't last super banana for a very long time. Nonetheless, I really love it. I enjoy banana scents. I like the novelty of it for sure. And I do like the dry down as well. It's just kind of milky, creamy, sweet vanilla. It's just a fun one. I think it layers well also over sunscreen, so if you're gonna have to like sunscreen up, especially if I use the vacation sunscreen, which also has its own kind of banana note going on, I think this pairs really well with it. And just a quick shout out, if any of you guys are banana lovers, I have a banana video, but I do want to talk about this body wash really fast. I have some left over from last year, but it's from Hemp's, and it's the sugared banana and vanilla blossom, and I love this banana scent. It's one of my favorite banana scents out there. It's like banana candy. It's very sugared. It's also kind of musky, so it has a cleanness about it as well that I think works together so good. So just want to shout that out. I don't know if it's available. Hopefully it is, but I know you can find Hemp's at Ulta, but sometimes you can find this at Marshall's and stuff. So if you see it there and you're into banana, it might be one to pick up. All right, let's talk about another new one from this year. This is Brown Girl Jane Carnivale, and if you're looking for a mango scent, this is one of my favorites in my collection. It's another one of those ones that mixes the fruit with the vanilla, which I just love. The mango is so juicy, but there's also some spicy notes in here. And honestly, when I first smelled it, I didn't necessarily pick it up, but when I read the notes, I'm like, oh my gosh, that totally makes sense. So there's ginger in here, there's pimento in here, and I guess I wouldn't call this like spicy, but they just add something really interesting to this fragrance that I feel like just elevates it. It's just so freaking good. But even with that juiciness of the mango, there is something, again, kind of creamy going on, a little vanilla, and there's also sandalwood in the base, and I just think all that mixes so good. It's almost like a yummy mango milkshake to me, which we have some other mango fragrances we're going to talk about that also kind of take on a mango milkshake, but this is my preferred mango milkshake. Like, this is just so freaking good. And I've talked about how this reminds me of Mango Beechwood from Bath and Body Works in the candle, which they like don't make anymore, and I loved that candle, and that's what this smells like, but in a totally wearable perfume version. If I were to go on a tropical vacation right now, I feel like this is the one scent out of everything that I for sure would want to bring. Like, I'm like, I have to bring this. It's just so good. Definitely, again, one of my favorite mangoes and one to check out from Sephora. I'm just excited that they're at Sephora now too, and I can't wait to see what other perfumes we're gonna get from them, because I feel like I like quite a few from their line. Okay, let's talk about the other mangoes. Now, if your ears perked up at a mango milkshake, you might want to check out this one. This is a niche offering. This is from Xerjoff, and it is Cruz del Sur 2. It's from the Shooting Stars collection. I'm not super familiar with Xerjoff, but I did get this sent to me from Twisted Lily, I think like last summer or so, and this one's like a wild ride, I gotta say. Let's talk notes really fast. There's mango, guava, pineapple in the top, so those are kind of like the fruity notes. Oh, and you get fruit, okay? But then there's some blackcurrant, violet leaf, whatever, but there's a milk in the base. There's some dried fruits in the base. There's some cedar, musk, vetiver, and really, it's just so unique, so interesting, and a really realistic take on fruit. To me and my husband, we always are like grape stems. We always think this smells like grape stems or like the produce department of a grocery store. Like, you walked into the grocery store, it just smells like the produce section. Like, there's some grape stems, there's some fruit, and the fruit's at varying ripeness. Some of it's perfect to eat, some of it's a little overripe. There's a little bit of a stink going on, but also it smells good and it smells kind of fresh. There's definitely something a little bit green going on in this fragrance, but then that milky note also adds something lactonic, definitely something milky, and it kind of just creates a creaminess and a thickness to this fragrance that is a little unexpected and very interesting. Again, very unique. It's definitely sweet as well. I don't know, man. This thing is interesting and a little bit challenging for me personally. When I wear it, it also just kind of, I mean, I guess it's this smell on me, but it's a little bit, again, green and always a unique experience. But I have to say, everyone I've had smell this, like, in my life, loves this fragrance. Like, they're always like, that's my favorite one. Like, out of all these ones, I'll have them smell everything, and they're like, I like Cruz del Sur too. I'm like, okay. So I think depending on like what your experiences are in life, how much you like fruity fragrances, it's definitely one to check out. And although, again, it's kind of challenging for me in a way, I appreciate this fragrance because it is so different, and I feel like it takes you on a bit of an experience. It tells a story, and it does fruity way different than I feel like all of these other fragrances. So definitely one to check out. I'll leave it down below. I have a code with Twisted Lily, so if you're looking to sample this, you can use that to save some money. I definitely suggest sampling this though. Definitely sample. And last, would it be a mango video without mango skin? This is fruity, again, different than all of them. All the mangoes I'm talking about, they're taken on mango in totally different ways, which I think is so cool. Like, I just love fragrance. Okay, this one is very tart. It's very juicy as well. It's not overly sweet. It's not overly sugared. It's a little bit more pungent in a way. Besides the mango in here, there's also blackberry and black pepper in the top. There's jasmine, orris, and lotus in the mid. And then in the base, there's vanilla. It says pink icing and patchouli. And, you know, I remember a time, and I don't know why the notes are different. Fragrantica definitely doesn't get them right all the time, but there was a time when it said civet in the base, and it also said that there was some wine in the base. And like, to me, civet and wine make way more sense than vanilla and pink icing. Like, where's the vanilla and pink icing in this? I don't know. To me, I get like a mango wine. Like, there's something a little astringent. I don't know. I definitely get that. As it wears, I pick up on some of that patchouli in here, and I find this to be a flirty, fun, fruity fragrance if you're looking for a night out. There's something about this that has a sex appeal that maybe some of the other fruity fragrances, although they might be flirty and fun and girly, this feels a little bit more grown in a way because it's not overly sugary and it has a little bit more allure. You know, it's a little more complex in how it's done, and I think there's something really beautiful to that. And it's one of the reasons I really do love niche fragrances. I just think a lot of the times they tend to have a little bit more story that they're telling, and this definitely paints a picture. To me, it's like a late summer night. Maybe you're dancing, you're a little bit sweaty. Again, definitely sexy and a little bit grown. So if you're looking for a little bit of a different take on mango, this might be one. But like I said, out of the 3 prominent mango fragrances here, I have to say Carnivale is like my favorite just because it's easy and it just, oh, it plays to my preferences for sure. I have 4 more fragrances to talk about, and I would say the ones left don't have necessarily a tropical take on them. They're more just fruity in general. And I definitely wanted to mention Byron Parfums. This is the Chronic Rouge Extreme. This is another one that is more raspberry heavy, and it's one I picked up this year as well. Like, I'm telling you, I'm a little bit more into the fruity fragrances than ever. And this is so good. It's another one that is flirty, fruity, feminine, fun, but there is this elevated quality about it. This has like a creamy, almost vanilla undercurrent to it. There's some whipped cream in here, and I get that lactonic kind of sweetness, but there's raspberry and melon, and I feel like right now I'm smelling the melon more than ever, but I feel like the raspberry melon, it just kind of overall smells like a fruity red thing. I've also talked about it smelling a little bit more strawberry to me, but I would say overall it's pretty much just an easy wear. It reminds me a bit of Sunset Hour, but I feel like this is even more refined than that, and I love that it has that whipped cream touch on it. There's sandalwood, musk, and patchouli in the base, and I find that as it dries down, it does get a little powdery, and I can smell a little bit of that patchouli, so some of that fruitiness dies away. Even some of that like whipped cream smell dies away, but it's left a little sweet, a little powdery, and I just love this one. I don't know, I smelled it and I was like, I love that. I didn't even know the notes. I was just like, that's for me. That's for me. It's so good. And if you love the idea of a fruity, vanillic, sweet, kind of creamy scent, House of Sillage's Minnie Mouse is one to check out. There's a raspberry note in here as well, which raspberry just tends to be a fruity note, but also a very sweet fruity note. Like, just when raspberry's in a fragrance, it tends to go pretty sweet, at least to my nose. And let me tell you, this thing is sweet, okay? This is like a raspberry scented baby doll, okay? It's very sweet. I could see this almost smelling kind of artificial, but the gourmand notes definitely come out in here, which I love. They're definitely competing with that fruit note, and they are neck and neck. It is so good. I get great lasting power on this as well, but the notes on this: marshmallow, whipped cream, raspberry, caramel, coconut, vanilla, musk, and cedar. Like, get out of here. Just yummy, girly. Like, Minnie Mouse is perfect for this. I'm obsessed, and this might not be the fruitiest, I guess, in here, but I do feel like the raspberry alone holds its own against all those creamy, yummy notes, and it's a nice blend. I feel like in the past I've been burned by different fragrances, maybe more celebrity though, but fragrances that have those like lactonic notes or caramel or anything like that, but then they have some fruits and I'm like, okay, it's all fruity. But this really is creamy. It's kind of milky, again, super duper sweet and so delicious. Definitely one to check out. And I know House of Sillage is expensive. I definitely suggest catching them on a sale. I was able to get this on a sale, I think almost half off, which was amazing, and definitely the price I suggest buying it at. But I love the bottle. I know they're kind of like, but having it, it's heavy and it's really cute and nice. So I love this. And my last two, I don't have full bottles, but this one I would love to add. I would love to have Kayali's Eden Sparkling Lychee in my collection, which I wasn't expecting. When I smelled this initially, I was just like, whatever. It smells like a ton of other stuff. It kind of smells like Bath and Body Works. Like, I don't need it, but I bought a travel size just because it's nice to have on hand and, you know, kind of keep coming back to it. And I have to say, over time, there's just something about this fragrance that is so fun. This, to me, if you're looking for, I guess, a slightly slightly less expensive version of Sunset Hour. These are not the same scent by any means, but maybe it's just the bottle color, I don't know, but they kind of remind me. This is super sugary though. It really smells like gummy worms. Like it smells like gummy worms to me, but in a really good way. If you just love a sweet kind of candy fruity scent, I think this is one to check out for sure. This has, as the name would suggest, lychee in here, but it also has some apple, there's some black currant, there's even some lemon, and so all those fruits to me are a little bit more punchy, I guess, but I wouldn't say this is overly tangy. I mean, it's definitely fruity, but I feel like the vanilla that's in here and even the sugared quality of this fragrance kind of subdues anything being too tart or like zingy about lemon or lychee or the black currant even. There's a few florals, a kind of woody, musky base. I just think this is fun. It's completely unserious, definitely just like a having a good time moment, but I do really like it and it definitely feels like a fun, fruity, flirty fragrance. And this last one I question putting in here because the vibe is different. Is it fruity? Yes. Is it flirty? I would say so. In a different way. It's sexy, right? It has a sexiness to it, but it's a bit more serious. It's just a little bit of a heavy hitter, and that is Oud Maracujá. This is from Maison Crivelii, and I really love this. There is something about this. You have to like oud, you have to like leather, but I don't think this is like a stinky oud. This is just super sexy. This is night out, and as heavy as this is, for some reason, I still feel like lightly, don't overdo it, but this would work for a summer night. I do. I still think it would. As much as the oud and kind of leathery notes are very prominent in this fragrance, there is this fruity undercurrent happening that mixes so well and adds this perfect amount of lift to this fragrance so it doesn't feel overly dense while also being so freaking heavy. I don't know how to explain it. If you haven't smelled this, it's hard, but again, I think you can get this at Twisted Lily, so I'll leave a sample link in case you're interested. But there's passion fruit in here. There's also just like in general, it says fruity notes, but there's definitely this kind of fruity and I would even say almost a boozy touch to this leathery, woody fragrance. There's also some Turkish rose, some saffron in here, some patchouli, benzoin, akagala wood, amber, labdanum, and vanilla. I don't think this is overly sweet, but I feel like the sweetness, again, helps to kind of balance out everything that's going on in here, and it's just good. If you're looking for something that's sexy, that packs way more of a punch, that is flirty in almost like a seductive way, I would check this one out. It is a beast, though. It is such a beast, and definitely a different vibe than the other fragrances here. I think it would be nice to mix though, like doing a couple spritzes of this one, maybe two, and then adding something fruity on top just to kind of add even more fruitiness and a little bit more lift in a different direction, I think could be a way to maybe make it a little bit lighter. But if you're into something a little bit heavier, a little bit sexy, but you still want some fruity touches, I would check out Oud Maracujá. There's something about it. It is just a beautiful fragrance. And that's my flirty, fun, and fruity fragrance video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I feel like there was a lot here. I even tried to like pare it down because I had a lot more than this, but let me know what you feel like is fruity and flirty and fun. I would love to know what some of your favorites are. I love getting your guys' recommendations, especially if you like a lot of the fragrances here. What else should I be checking out? But other than that, I'm gonna leave it here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.